Welcome to Estimator Platinum. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to create new estimates, create work areas and ad hoc line items, add project details, how to use Cordell databases. We will learn how to edit the estimate page, how to run advanced reports, and how to create templates. Now just a quick overview for Cordell Estimator Platinum's databases. All the line items are researched on a daily basis and uploaded into Estimator Platinum on a daily basis. So what we have is the detailed database. This is for detailed estimating and also for looking up detailed install rates. It contains the C components, which is either labour, material, plant hire, or subcontract for things like dumping costs. So it has individual install rates, recipes, things like installing a door lock, right through to installing a complete door of say average quality prestige, and right through to things like install joists and bearers, etc., and many ranges of items, and organically growing as well with the database. Then we have the elemental database. So this does like the section parts of the house. So for example, concrete, including reinforcement, concrete and pest control as a complete price, right through to a brand new install kitchen of small, medium, large, average quality prestige. We have the insurance renovation database. The renovation is a elemental type renovation database that has, say for example, wet rooms like kitchen, remove and replace, small, medium, large, average quality prestige. Then there's the detailed remove and replace database. This is for insurance or renovation work as well. And this is the detailed database for things like remove and dispose and supply and fit, or remove and dispose and supply and fit prices. It also has things like the minimum charge out rates for small jobs as well. Then we have the M2 rates. This has the Cordell standard house plans. So if you want to look up feasibility costs for building houses for single and second story houses, right through to extensions and second story raise ups. Then we have the commercial M2 database. This contains things like commercial buildings and also contains all the elements and part sections for doing feasibility for commercial buildings. The charge out rates for the housing and commercial, this contains a labour charge out rate for residential and a commercial charge out rate for commercial. So if we open the labour rates here, this is where all the benchmark labour rates are situated. For housing as residential, and commercial does have a set commercial charge out labour rate. So just a quick overview for Estimator Platinum New Zealand. Exactly the same program. This data does contain New Zealand targeted pricing. So it is uploaded on a daily basis and researched specifically for New Zealand. And it has the detailed housing and the commercial database. It has the elemental database and the remove and replace and renovation. It doesn't contain the housing M2 models, but there are a set fewer models within the housing detailed database. So there is a choice of house models to choose from in here, but does not contain the commercial M2 feasibility models, but exactly the same data. And it has a charge out rate for the labour specifically for New Zealand as a benchmark. Then there's Cordell Estimator Education for both Australia and New Zealand. It contains exactly the same data targeted towards Australia and New Zealand, but does not contain commercial use pricing, but it's exactly the same data uploaded on a daily perspective, and very much beneficial for up and coming estimators and builders learning how to estimate and use construction data. So to create a new estimate, what we can do is click on estimates here, click on add an estimate, and type in the name of the estimate here, then we'll click on the save button. Once we've saved the estimate, it now becomes the active estimate. It's very important with adding data to make sure that you're adding the data to the correct estimate that's active. To make another estimate active, all you need to do is click on the tick icon here, click on the yes, and then that estimate becomes the active. To view any estimate, all you can do is click on the view icon. This opens up the estimate page. On the estimate page, a great place to start is creating work area headings to control the line items that land on the page. So if we click on the required field, you can start to type the categories or type your own. Let's start with say site prelims, and then click on the orange plus button. This has created the work area heading, and then to add line items to underneath the work area, you can click on the set to active. What you can do is type in the description fields. Maybe you want to type in, say, square meters. And then if you want to type in your own adhoc line, click in the required field. Start to type a category or choose from one of the categories provided, or type in your own category. Once you start to fill in the quantity or unit rate, let's choose just a 1 and say an item. So once you fill in the category, the quantity and the unit rate, it'll start to switch the line item over. The line item allows you to put in labour, material, plant and subcontract. And then you can also click in the description cells and maybe even type in some extra descriptions for that line item. So before we start adding data to the estimate page, let's close the estimate. If you want to add some project details to your estimate, you can click on the project details column here, click on the add or edit. So if you want to add things like the site address, contact details, quote details, maybe the date that the quote was created, and you can also upload images for a project image report. And to add your report details to any reports, all you need to do is click on the plus button of what you want to be added to those project details on your estimate reports, and click on the save button. And once you type in the site address, you can open up the site map and you can click on the points around the site map, and this will also record things like total square meter, total linear meter. These can be handy quantities once we start adding data to the estimate page. Let's go and start adding data to the estimate page. Let's click on databases. To add items to an active estimate, first is check that you have the correct database selected. And let's say you're building a detailed estimate, you may want to start with site prelims. Just click on the category. There are two icons, one is a C for component and one is the R for recipe or install costs. So we click on the C component. C component is either a labour, material, plant hire or subcontract research price. The R for recipes is an install cost and it will contain the components. We click on the recipe detail, you can see it contains the labour and components for delivery and pickup. So to add an item to the estimate page, we'll click and we'll double check the description, double check the item's name, and then to add to an active estimate, click on the orange plus button. To return back to the active estimate, click on view active estimate, and you can see the item has landed on the estimate page. And it's highlighted in pink to show the last item added to the page, and then you can proceed to put quantities in. So on the database page, if you simply want to swap databases over, click on the drop down, choose the database that you want to use, and then click on select database, and the data will change over on the left hand side. Once you've got more line items added to the estimate page, and the best practice is to finish your work area heading with quantities before you move on to the next work area heading. If you do need to drag and drop line items, unset to active, untick. The best place to drag and drop is down the total column. Click and hold on the mouse and drag up to the top. Now if you do go set to active again and do add more line items from the database page, they will appear now directly under the orange line to reset the memory. And just as an example for work areas, you can create even work areas by room, or even by this example, I've got the roofing remove as the work area and the install cost for the install of the roof. Let's continue to add items to the estimate page. Let's say we're up to carpentry structural, internal timber walls. We've got our work area created. We've gone set to active. Let's close the estimate page. For our reference for the carpenter, let's go to labour rates. Click on subcontract labour, and we've got the carpenter joiner for the charge out rate. And what you see on the database page is GST free. So as far as a carpenter, it doesn't matter whether it's an apprentice or leading hand. We have the one charge out rate, and this component feeds into all the install costs. Let's add it to the estimate page as a reference point. You can also search for items in the search function here. You can search for components or recipes, install costs, and to collapse this or collapse any database, click select database. Let's go and add the internal timber frame price to the estimate. Let's go down to carpentry structural. You can see here we've got the C component for MGP10, A researched item within the database, updated daily. Let's keep on scrolling down to internal timber wall framing. Let's choose, say, 600 centers, 2.4 high. What we're looking for is the description up the top. Look for the item within the description name. Looking for 90 by 45. Let's add it to the estimate page. We can also check the recipe detail to see what makes up the cost as a unit rate. It includes the bracing, plates, studs and noggins. Let's say we want to find or add the pine stud that makes up the recipe detail of the 90 by 45. You can copy and paste this in the search function also. Let's go to stud pine. Find the 90 by 45. Check the recipe detail. You can see it does contain the C component for the carpenter and the C component for the 90 by 45. So you have individual unit rate install costs, and also those install costs can go into complete prices as well. So if we look at here, LVL, bearers and joist, complete price. To speed up your estimating, look for the complete prices. You also have here not just the install cost, we have things for difficult works like height allowances. Let's also add this to the estimate page. Let's go back to the view active estimate. You can see we've got our items on the estimate page, and all we need to focus on is adding the quantities, and these can be gained quite quickly from PlanSwift and the Cordell tab. And we also have our labour charge out rate as our reference point. Once you've added quantities to the estimate page, this triggers a total price. So let's say from our carpentry structural charge out rate, GST free, we do want to adjust the rate. We can click on dollar or percentage. Let's say we adjust the rate. Once you're happy with the total, you can also scroll down to the add charges. This controls the builder's profit and overheads, or even adding location cost factors or contingencies. For this I have industry standard of say 20%. This can change due to anyone's business structure as well. We want to add location cost factors. Let's close the estimate. Now located in the category up the top here, and you can find location cost factor by postcode. And just some key functions on the estimate page. If you're doing a lock line items, you can click on the grey tick box here, and this locks the line item, so if you don't want it to be updated, and also to remind yourself if you've made changes to the estimate. As you can see here, there's a green icon, which means the database is updated on a daily basis, which means if you see that icon, that means you can update your estimate. All you need to do is click on individual items here, or click on them all and update the rates, or copy and paste or delete items. This can be great for copying, pasting items from a different estimate or templates into an active estimate or any estimate to control your line items. So let's learn how to run reports. What you see on the estimate page here is an example of a detailed estimate with work area headings, the labour charge out rates as a reference, each different recipe filled in with quantities. These can be gained from PlanSwift and the Cordell tab very quickly. To run a report, what we can do is click on generate report. So client details, this is a great report to start with because it's more of a cost summary that just shows quantities rather than pricing with or without recipe detail. The next cost summary report is a job overview. This is going to show more of the category totals. And then there's the job details report. It's going to show more of the rate column. And then the full job breakup report is going to show more of the labour, material, plant and subcontract columns. For this example, let's click on client details with recipe detail. The includes means either blank is going to just group the category items together, or non-grouped work area is great for using work areas. Basically how you see the pages is how the report will look. Charges here, whatever's in the charges box down the bottom, profit and overheads, location cost factors, will be distributed throughout the estimate itself, or completely separated or excluded. We can add our company logo. We can download to Microsoft Office files, email a PDF or print preview. For this example, let's run a PDF report. The report shows a good breakdown of the job details, each different line item, the work area headings, and also gives you a fail-safe for the zero quantities if you've missed any as well. And just a quick overview of how to build an approximate house cost to build. What you have is a Cordell standard house plans as a reference. You can choose from 1 level or 2 level, average quality prestige. What you're looking for is the total square meter, total ground floor square meter for the floor, the walls and what the roof is made of. Then all you need to do is click on the added extras for things like what the floor type is, even internal features, change your wall height, right through to a number of different added extras and environmental costs as well. Once you've added these to the estimate page, you can put in your total ground floor square meter. Some items only require a 1 quantity if you do want to add an extra wet area from the elemental database. Just a quick overview of how to build an elemental estimate. All you need to do is travel through from the categories from top to bottom. All you need to do if you just want to find out the price of a kitchen, you can click on the kitchen category, small, medium, large, average quality prestige, add it to the estimate page and even put in a quick margin to find out how much a new kitchen costs to build. This is an example of a completed elemental estimate. Each different category broken down. You can see there's not too many items to build an estimate. This can typically take between about 15 minutes to an hour to build a fast elemental estimate. And just a quick overview for building a commercial building feasibility estimate. All you need to do is choose from the categories on the left of what building type, find the closest size band and what type. You can see here it's total square meter of the building, including the levels. Choose which size band that you require, and you can choose from the elements for things like an isolated roof overhang, for things like an industrial factory storing trucks per se, for example. Here's an example of a completed commercial feasibility estimate with the build type and the roofing items to target in of the total roof cost for the overhang. And just some targeted price adjustment functions that you can do. You can click in the C component of the labour for the detailed database or the remove and replace database for labour, and click on the adjustment column here, and you can add in extra percentages if your subbies require extra margins, or the best place to do it on the estimate page to update the estimate at any stage. Once you've made that change to the adjustment, you can go down to any recipe related to that labour and it will have the adjustment in the recipe showing, and it does change the total rate. So from company estimates, if you purchase sub-users, extra users, they will appear in the company estimates list here, and you can work between others' estimates into your My Estimates, and also company templates as well and company suppliers. From here, as an administrator, you can click on the user preferences, click on company users, and you can add the sub-users and edit them. Also in the education system here allows the teacher administrator to bulk import students as well. From the templates section here, to build templates from estimates or company templates, all you need to do is go and search and find that template, have an active estimate ready and click on the add button here. This will move all the template items across to the estimate, and then you can focus on your quantities to speed up your estimating. We also do have Cordell templates. There's a number of templates in here that show the work area templates and even a break apart for different sections of the building type like site prelims. So if you want to upload your company logo, simply click on User Preferences. In the My Report details, you can upload your logo and even change your company details to show on your estimate reports. If you're looking for more detailed training, click on Support and fill in the details, and one of our trainers will organise an online meeting to do one-on-one training. Thank you for taking the time to learn Estimator Platinum Australia, New Zealand and Education version.